Hi there, Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well. Thank you for watching Brother Be Well's Youth Substance Youth Prevention Series, supported by Elevate Youth California, funded through Proposition 64.
Aldo, thoughts are yours before we this time flies by when we're together talking about this stuff. So I want to check in with you to see if you got any thoughts on what Roland had to say just now.
Yeah, really quickly, I'm learning a lot new drugs. I'm learning a lot about, the pharmacies and the whole medication doctor perspective. And, my input is just, is it ethical, right? We got to ask ourselves, okay, we're not getting it from the hood or the streets or whatever you want to call it. We're not getting it from a dealer, but, replacing a opioid for opioid, like, is that ethical? Is that okay? No, not really. And I agree with what Roland's saying. There's other treatment plans. There's other ways you can be clean for a small amount of time. For detox, yes, it's okay, but for the long run, I think it's going to affect more and more people.
Yeah.
Michael, let me say this in all fairness. Yes, I do think medication-assisted treatment saves lives. I think there are cases that people have repeatedly failed. They've been repeatedly unable to maintain abstinence. And because of the fentanyl and the risk of overdoses, we want to, I had a lady tell me once, and I'll close with this. I was saying something similar about my concerns about long-term medication replacement, opioid replacements particularly. And this lady, I was talking about methadone, and this lady came up to me and she said, "Mr. Williams, I heard what you said, but I just want you to know that methadone kept me alive long enough to get clean."
Wow.
I think that's what it does. I think it keeps people alive, gives them a chance, and maybe one day they'll decide that they want to come off of everything. But if I had to, I would rather have it than not have it. Right. I just wish it was used more responsibly, in my opinion.
And would you say, Roland, before we have to pivot out of this, do you think that as the three of you were talking, does it tend to be more effective for someone who has been addicted for a longer period of time? Is that the patient? I know there's probably not a cookie cutter way to describe who that patient is, who that drug addict is, but maybe if someone's been on it for a long period of time, as opposed to me with my foot injury, I caught it early. And maybe I could have done it without it, but if you've been addicted to an opioid for a long time, maybe that substitute medication might help. That's a thought I had.
That's exactly my concern. You said it beautifully. If you've been on it, you've got a long history of chronic addiction, opioid dependence, and I would be thinking medication-assisted treatment. But they're giving it to people on their first time. They're giving it to young people. They're giving it to people in lieu of telling them, you don't even need to go to treatment. Just take this medication. Yeah. And I think that's the conflict of interest. There's money to be made off of this. They have tons of money, this big pharmaceutical company, and they are incentivized to get as many people on it and keep you on it indefinitely if they could have their way. So I think there are some ethical concerns, but we can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. There is some value that it brings. I want to always acknowledge that, but there are some risks that I think don't get the proper attention in my community. And in the Black community, the Black and brown community, they just, if you have the insurance to get it, then they'll give it to you indefinitely. They kept us on methadone a lot of Black people wound up on methadone for decades.
Wow.
Decades.
We always run out of time when we have conversations like this. We go in there thinking 30 minutes is plenty of time, but we run out of time. Before we gotta get out of here, I want to just touch base with each of you. Somebody's listening to this as a podcast. Somebody's watching this. You could say just one thing based on what you learned today or heard today to somebody listening or watching. What would it be?
Educate yourself. A lot of the Black and brown communities, a lot of the minority communities, they're not educated, and they fit into this stereotype and stigma that we are dumb and lazy, and we're always the ones incarcerated or being arrested of possessions of drugs and all that stuff. So I think first and foremost, educate yourself. I'm really happy there's a program like this, and I'm really happy we're in these type of conversations, that we're educating our youth especially, so they won't repeat the same mistakes that we've done or our family members have done. And just going back to what Devontae was saying, educate yourself. If there's something that you're curious or interested about, really figure it out, the whole details. And if I wasn't part of this program, if I wasn't part of the Summer Youth Academy, I probably honestly would have been doing cocaine, or I would have been partying with my friends or continuing to do drugs. So without this program, I would have been in a different direction. So I wanted to say that.
Man, well, we're doing it all for people like you, brothers like you, Aldo. I appreciate it. Roland, just before I throw it to you, I wanted to touch on really quickly, we're all about behavioral health here at Brother Be Well, and I don't want anybody to miss, we're talking about these strong opioids. They can cause all kinds of problems in the brain, as we've been talking about. They can include paranoia, depression, anxiety, aggression, hallucinations, all kinds of mental health problems you can avoid, in addition to everything else we talked about, by just leaving these substances alone. Roland, closing comments from you, sir.
Well, I think that one of the things that I would really like to stress is two things. One is that because we're talking about opioid prescription drugs, which are basically narcotics prescribed by a physician, a lot of people have the idea that because the doctor gave it to me, it's safe. And the doctors, just because the doctor gave it to you does not mean it's safe. And doctors oftentimes don't give you the necessary warnings and that should accompany these drugs, which are so addictive and so dangerous. So I think we give doctors a lot more credit. I think got to do your research. You should never take some pill that you don't know exactly what it does. Like you guys said, educate yourself. Don't take something that you don't know what it does. And as Devontae and I, we were talking earlier about, as young people go through phases where they want to try things, like Aldo mentioned. I think about, I want to try this, and I try this, and I keep ratcheting it up. I go higher, I tried that, and I want to try this, and I want to try that. And these opioids are like the ultimate. When people reach that peak, and most people survive it, a lot of people survive it, so they can, get it out of their system and then move on with their life. But everybody doesn't survive it. And so just how dangerous these drugs are, I don't think people really get that. They think a doctor gave it to them and makes me feel good and I'm going to be all right. But all it takes is one bad experience and you're done. And that's not the case with like weed or some other drugs. I mean, this particular classification of drugs is extremely dangerous. So I would just encourage people to do their research, make good decisions, and try to survive these formative years so that you can get on with your life.
Beautifully put, sir. Roland Williams, Master Addictions Counselor. Thank you very much for being with us today, Roland.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Couple of our youth family. Always good to see y'all too. Devontae Springer and Aldo Mohedano. Thanks a lot, y'all. I want to thank you for checking this video out or listening to this podcast. If you've heard something or seen something or been intrigued by what we're doing here at Brother Be Well, go to our website, if you would, brotherbewell.com. You can find videos just like this one, audio podcasts, print pieces, all kinds of links to resources, all designed to help you be well. Do it at brotherbewell.com. We're a membership-supported service, but memberships are free right now. So you can join. You'll be our next new member. Do that all at brotherbewell.com. While you're there, sign up for our blog. And 2 or 3 times a week, you'll get notifications when videos just like this one go live. Do it all at brotherbewell.com. My name again, Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well. It's a great honor of mine to serve in that role for you. I want to ask you to do 2 quick things for me as we get out of here. Take great care of yourself, and you know how it goes. Take great care of somebody else. Till next time, bye-bye.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Aldo Mohedano, and I am 22 years old. I currently live in Stockton, California, and I joined the Brother Be Well Summer Youth Academy for substance abuse prevention. I really love this academy because in the future, I would love to be a substance abuse counselor, and I'm currently getting my certificate right now at my community college. So I just thought this was a perfect way to spend the summer, to learn, to get an exposure, to get experience, to meet mentors, to meet the fellow youth. And I thought this was perfect. This environment was perfect for me. Now, every presenter and every mentor that was speaking during the sessions, I felt that they were professional. I felt that they were fully capable of answering our questions. I felt that they were experts in what they were talking about. So I really appreciated everybody for participating in this program. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about substance abuse. I learned a lot about addiction. I learned a lot about how, some warning signs. I learned a lot about healing.
recovery, relapses. I learned a lot about how different substances have a different effect on your brain, on your physical health. Learned a lot about prescription drugs. I learned a lot about alcohol, learned a lot about psychedelics, and just, all these topics, the presenters and the speakers, they really went into detail, even the mentors, of course. So with that being said, I really enjoyed this program. We were able to get emotional. We were able to really touch base on if anybody has had any experiences in the past. We were able to touch base on, if someone has had a family member, a friend, or they knew someone who has been through it. And it was really powerful. It was really powerful. I loved how they tied in a lot of mental health into it as well. We had sessions about anorexia, self-confidence, childhood trauma, responsibility, forgiving yourself. So I love that aspect. I love that aspect of getting us exposed to mental health, healthy habits, being open and talking to your friends, to a therapist. I thought that was amazing. I really loved the program. I'm sad it's coming to an end. It's a great way for me to get to know everybody and spend the summer with everybody. And ultimately, in the end, it really puts in perspective other people's lives and experiences, and honestly changed my lifestyle. So there are some things, some habits that I've broken because of this program, and made my life for the better. So thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. And thank you for hearing me out. Bye.